Right, hello, I'll be on for about 30 minutes to an hour, so there's been both good and bad news today. Bad news, as the title says, UK unemployment rate's nearly 5% now, and I think that'll probably carry on going higher. Part of the problem, obviously, was where the government said they were going to end the furlough scheme, then decided to carry it on. If they'd have just said originally they'd have carried it on, more people might still be in their jobs, but so that's going up, but the good news at least is they think there might be a vaccine by Christmas. Now, I'd be a bit skeptical of that because they keep saying there'll be a vaccine and then they delay it, but apparently there has been some good news recently with a vaccine development thing. So hopefully that means by the start of next year they can start rolling out a vaccine to the most vulnerable. And then, all right, Sheep Strangler, I had to start later tonight just because my parents are streaming the football. I can't do a video on here and then stream the football at the same time without the internet crashing out. But hope everybody's all right. But yeah, so the UK unemployment rate is not good, and I imagine it will get worse before it gets better. What, as in, Thomas, people still want to buy it? Yeah, looks like Trump's lost the election, as we said before on the last stream, but the thing is, he's fighting it in the courts now, isn't he? Yeah, right. Nerd Central, there's two games I've started playing recently I've really enjoyed. I'll see if you've played them. One of them is called Superliminal, which is like a weird puzzle game, but that's really good. It's not very long. You can complete in about 2 hours, but it is a very good puzzle game while you're playing it. It was like one of those games where within 5 minutes of starting to play it, it put me in a really good mood, just because of how much it was engaging me having to think of the puzzles. And the other one's a game called Teardown that's quite recent. And Teardown's kind of like a Lego-y sort of Minecraft-y thing where you destroy buildings. Oh, what, Feisner, or whatever they're called, Thomas, yeah. Today, Sheep Strangler, not a lot. Today was like just running an errand sort of day, so it was one of those days where I had to go out, get some stuff, sort of like essential things. It's just one of those days, waiting for the post, that sort of day. The S10 is definitely better, in my opinion, Ash, but obviously bear in mind the S6 came out in like the 50s or 60s, didn't it? I think early 60s, whereas the S10 came out in the 80s. I think in general, a national lockdown makes more sense just because the problem is when they had all the different regional areas at different levels, people weren't following it very well. Right, Eltrix? Well, the currently, Joshua, the lockdown we've currently got is meant to end before Christmas, and they're saying if it works, there'll be a vaccine before Christmas, at least for like frontline, health workers and that. But in reality, whether that will be the case or not, I don't know. Oh, that's cool, Stug. That's like the old grenade, isn't it? The Mills bomb. Yeah, that's the same. The two games I've bought recently are that Superliminal and Teardown, and I've both been enjoying those a lot. I mean, like I say, Superliminal isn't very long, but it's quite good if you just want a game that will really sort of engage your brain for a couple of hours. Yeah, as you say, Yuko Gang, personally, I'm quite skeptical that it will end properly before Christmas, or as I said in that video, that they won't end it for like a week or two for Christmas and then just slap another lockdown straight on. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. As you said, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. That's the scintillator one, isn't it, Thomas? But yeah, that's good if that's arrived. I was contacting the person today about the DP2, and I think they've said that the person that they're, getting it from to ship to me, they're having issues with. So if it's not arrived in a couple of days, I'll get it from a different source for me. Yeah, I've played The Witcher 3 before, Witcher 2. I've got Witcher 1, 2, and 3, but I've never really played the first one. But yeah, like I was saying, I've just really enjoyed that Superliminal. I might stream it at some point. The only problem is if I stream it, if there are people that want to play it, it will, kill some of the excitement of the puzzles. But Superliminal was really good. It's weird. It's kind of, like how Portal works with portals. Superliminal is kind of like, instead of portals, scale of objects. So it's one where the perspective, how you look at an object, changes the scale of it. So you have to look at objects in different ways to scale them up and down, to use them to solve puzzles, which gets really interesting in parts of it. All right, Mike. Yeah, is Superliminal on PS4, Mike? If it is, I definitely recommend you get it. That's annoying, Eco Gang, if you have to put your wedding off. But yeah, I can understand why, especially as well with a lot of people, because they've just said, what's the point in having a wedding if you can only have like 3 guests go to it, whatever it is. Personally, I'm not a fan of fast helmets, but if you are getting a fast helmet with all the rails on it, get the thing for mounting night vision onto it. Maybe a visor mount if you wanted like a riot visor on it. Wow, it depends if you're breaking the law, I would guess, Chris, because again, that's a very theoretical question. It's like saying in the US, what happens during a traffic stop? You might get a cop that's completely polite with you, or you might get another cop that shoots you, It's a bit, I think, random with the mood of the cop and the actual, what's going on. I can't, whenever I've dealt with the police, they've always been really polite, in all honesty. But I know a lot of people don't have that. But yeah, let me just link you to the Superliminal thing, just so people know what I'm on about. You can get Superliminal for the Switch, apparently. Is it on the consoles? PlayStation 4, Xbox One, yeah, it is. If that's ever on sale, Mike, or anybody on PS4 or Xbox or whatever, I definitely recommend you pick Superliminal up. I'll just link the Steam page so people know what I'm on about, because the video on here will give you a good idea. I'd say personally, or I bought it for like 12 quid with that 20% off. I would say, although you only spend like a couple of hours playing it, I'd say it's a really, really engaging couple of hours. It was because, like I said, what was really good for me was yesterday I was in a bit of a mood, where you can't really focus on anything. I just bought that because it was on sale and I thought, no, it's a puzzle game. I haven't played a puzzle game in a while. And I think within 5 minutes of starting it, it just put me in a really good mood because, when you're actually really having to think how to solve the puzzles. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. Like I said, it's kind of one of those how long is a bit of string questions, isn't it? The one we've got at the moment isn't a total lockdown, and it's meant to be over by the 2nd of December, but personally I don't think it will be. Or if it is, they'll then, I think, slap another lockdown on pretty quickly. Yeah, so the good news is, for the people who missed the good news, where we were talking about bad news, the good news was at least that Pfizer thinks they've got a vaccine that's 90% effective, and it looks like a lot of countries have already started, getting the preparations ready to order it en masse. So it looks like they were saying that December or January, like the most vulnerable people can basically be inoculated against corona. Yeah, the UK had a record day for deaths, didn't it, today, Philip? Or at least record for this time, where we are now. Because the problem is that I think where a lot of people were going, oh, it's not too bad recently, they didn't realise that, the deaths typically lag behind the number of cases. So while it's younger people getting it, your death count's going to be lower. But as soon as it starts then spreading to older or more vulnerable people, or, the people who get it more seriously get it. Which helmet? Are you looking at that one? That's like the British copy of the ECH. Well, it's not really a copy. I think it's made by the same company under license, isn't it? But the Virtus helmet, whatever. Yeah, Daniel, they said it's going to be completely voluntary and kids aren't going to get it. Because apparently they can't guarantee that the vaccine's safe for children, so they won't be giving it here, which makes sense to me. If they don't know it's safe, they won't give it you. All right, Mike, that was the same price as it was on the PC then. I'd say for that price, I think you'd really like it, but it depends how much value you want to get from it, because it's one of those games I think you could replay it, but I don't think you'd want to replay it the instant you complete it. Right, Hike, so the good news was that started yesterday, and then basically as the day went on yesterday, the news developed, is Pfizer, or whatever they're called, like a big American pharmaceutical company, I think they're American, have come up with a vaccine they think is 90%, guaranteed to work. And and apparently lots of vaccines only have like a 50 to 60% success rate. So 90% is apparently really good, and lots of countries already, you should see how quickly the stock markets have started going back up, because they're all, lots of governments already sort of putting their orders in. So, some CBR, and if it's an actual MP5 and not a, French one, that's good, I guess. No, Eco Gang, as I said, it's going to be, when I get one, I'll get one, but the problem is obviously it's just saving until one pops up at the price I've got saved up for it. Does that make sense? Because the issue is with, like, saying about the ROC post, and there's a picture one there, is that when there's not any for sale, or if they're for sale way out of my budget range, I won't be getting one. But I'm saving up, more and more towards it every month, and then when one comes up and I've got the money together, I'll get it. So I'm pretty sure I'd announce it very quickly when I'd got one. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Daniel. It's like nearly all the big like pharmaceutical companies are famous because of, like, stuff like that. It's like one of the biggest I'm trying to think of which one it is, but there's like one in the UK that's like a similar thing, and they're most famous because of Durex condoms. I don't think you can make rubber on an old mask stronger. You can treat it to stop it deteriorating, but well, I was saying silicon lubricant train spotter just basically keeps the rubber intact. Because silicon lubricant is just generally like a bit like a polish that you can use on some metals and plastics and rubbers. Yeah, you have to be careful, because when you get silicon lubricant, you need to get the stuff that's not got other stuff added to it. Thank you very much again, Thomas. I really appreciate that. Cheers. That will definitely be going towards it. So yes, thank you very much. But yeah. How much does what cost? Sorry, train spotter. Do you mean silicon lubricant? The Draper one, if you look up the price, this is the one I've always used because there's not crap added to it. So this is like on every mask I've tried this on, I've not had any issues. And you can also use this on airsoft seals and airgun seals. That's originally why I bought this, for airsoft gun seals. But the Draper one's good because it's not got anything in it that is bad for masks. You have to be careful with some brands because they cheapen it by putting other stuff in, which can have an effect on certain materials. Yeah, multicam and MTP and all those are alright, some CBRN. Daniel, wasn't KY jelly the stuff they used in Alien for, like, the alien saliva, if I remember right? Like, I know it's like a lube, isn't it? But, like, that was the actual thing that I think, if I remember right, they used for the special effects for Alien to make it look slimy or, like, drooling. Yeah, there's probably a few different ones, aren't there? Hakwa, however your name is pronounced, sorry, Mr. Noaz. But, yeah, there's a few different variants you can use, but in general, yeah, if you get a good brand of one, you don't have to worry about it having, like, other contaminants in. Yeah, M15 is good. The vaccine isn't available for people like us yet, but I think by the time it's available for us, assuming that people who have been given the vaccine aren't having any health problems, I would say yes, the vaccine would be worth it. Sergeant Cereal, go on eBay and look them up. You can get a cheap old communist one that I wouldn't want to use, for your own safety, probably 20 to 30 pounds or dollars. To get a modern, like, military spec thing or like a diving spec thing, a lot more. Again, a rebreather is something you probably don't want to mess around with unless you know a fair bit about them, just because there's a lot more that can go wrong with a rebreather compared to a gas mask. I don't know, Daniel. I mean, Trump's been saying a lot of things at the moment, hasn't he? I mean, he's playing golf and angrily tweeting, isn't he, at the moment? So, I don't know about I don't know if he's been given, like, a super effective vaccine. But well, I thought the thing Trump was saying, Daniel, though, was that he reckons that the vaccine was available, like, beforehand, but they waited till after the election to announce it. Well, the Soviet Union no longer exists, so I mean, Soviet medicine packs aren't like medic kits aren't going to be made, are they, in modern Russia? If that's what you mean. Right, Dusty. Here's a question for you because I'm interested in this. How long would it take if, like, let's say Trump wins all his legal stuff? Um, say Trump wins all his like legal things, and then he actually wins the presidency. How long does that take? And all that, because, like I said, this is where it's really confusing if you're not an American. And I don't know if it's a very common thing. So they said it was like the election with Al Gore in it versus Bush. They said it was the same thing, where like it might be the result of the election suddenly changes when a court comes to a decision or something. So January. Right. Okay. So the US election has been an absolute dumpster fire for those of you that's not followed it. So Biden has apparently won, but apparently there's loads of evidence of voter fraud. And of course, I don't know if there was or wasn't because I'm not American and I wasn't there. But apparently there's all these like legal challenges going on now. I think Trump's in the White House, isn't he, Philip, until some point in January. But I don't know at what point they'd have had to have proved Biden didn't fairly win the election or whatever. Oh yes, KY jelly is an actual thing, Joshua. But what I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure if you look up in Alien, I'm just going to Google this just in case I'm going. Yep, there we go. I know Reddit isn't the best source, but yeah, there you go. That was a thing because I remember it's like one of the funny behind the scenes thing. I have no idea how good acoustic foam would be at filtering stuff. Well, in England, you'd vote in the like British elections. We're leaving the EU, so I don't think we'd have EU elections anymore. I'd assume Leon because Nicola Sturgeon said they had to close. I assume that would be the reason. I have no idea, Alex. I'd have initially said yes, but apparently Biden wants to do a deal, but they'd all say that, wouldn't they? I suppose until something happens, you don't really know because you can't trust anything a politician says. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Planes. No, I didn't see extremely bright lights in the sky last night. That's a bit of a shame if I missed some like really interesting thing in the sky, but you know. Right, Joshua. So, is there literally a video where Biden is like obviously caught saying that, or is it like one of those things that somebody alleges Biden says it? Yeah, well, that's the thing, Philip. Like saying that's what I've been thinking is, even if there is, isn't there like a burden of proof sort of problem? That's the thing. Well, look, there's Donald Trump right now in the chat. He says, "Do you think that schools will shut in England now that two of the devolved constituencies have?" No idea. I mean, I know a lot of schools are closed regardless, just because of the amount of corona cases they've gotten, like contact tracing. Where I think there's several schools in Oxfordshire that are now closed, just because like so many students in certain years have had it, they've had to close the schools. Yeah, inductive TK, not a good idea to look at that meteor shower, is it? Because then you'd find that you can't see in the morning, and then the plants come to eat you. That's very interesting, Planes. No, I did not know anything about this. Well, maybe they'd come in right at the end, Philip, to make 2020 even worse. Although you can make fuel out of triffids, can't you? Because that was originally in the book why they kept the triffids around, because they triffid oil was like better than any sort of petroleum, wasn't it? In the actual book, if I remember, it's probably on one of the shelves up there. What, as in it might be worse and we can't treat it, Philip, with the mink infection? Well, Phil, I definitely think there's going to be civil unrest over stuff going on. Both the US and stuff going on all around the world at the moment, especially with how many people are losing their jobs at the moment. I was at Inductive fatigue. I can't actually remember all of it, but the book is very good. The BBC series is really good as well. Like the 1950s or 60s films, a bit meh, especially because they kill them with seawater in the film. Why didn't anybody think of that in the book? Okay, so apparently unknown Russian in Danish mink farms, which are apparently a thing, because apparently breeding animals to skin them for fur is apparently a thing. They had corona jump from, was it people to the minks and then back to the people in a different form. But I honestly don't know too much about it. I've seen a couple of Dr. John Campbell videos on it, and I know that what they are doing in the UK is like they've stopped anybody from Denmark coming in now, haven't they? They were actually pretty quick to do that, where they normally diver on everything for a while. Well, I think in America it's a good thing, Phil, because obviously that's part of the Second Amendment. If you were going to say introducing them into the UK when we don't, we've already kind of gone too far anti-gun, I don't think that would work very well. Yeah, I need to watch a load more of his videos, I think, at the moment, Philip, but all right, cheers you. Yeah, I hope I'm not getting that with that firsthand. But yeah, the thing is, Dr. John Campbell, I think, has been one of the most trustworthy people on all this corona stuff, just because he's called it right a lot of the times, All right, Cam. Not loads at the moment. We're just talking about all the corona stuff at the moment, the good and the bad. Bad people losing jobs and the death rate. Good that there's probably a vaccine quite soon now, but they said that before. Yeah, I think Planes, if they were going to do another HBO style series, the best, I don't mean best as in it's a good thing, because obviously the events were horrible, but the closest you could do to a scale of Chernobyl would probably be the Bhopal gas disaster, or Bhopal gas disaster, which is like one of the worst industrial accidents ever, which was the one in India, where all the like cyanide-based pesticide, wasn't it? Basically erupted from like a really dodgy sort of plant. Just to warn people, we try not to get too political in these streams, because I don't want people arguing over left versus right or all that. We try and get on here. You can try, Joshua, but the problem is YouTube won't actually let you post a link in the actual stream because of how YouTube works. Well, I can certainly agree with you there, Phil, on a lot of those points. But again, the problem is, like I said, I'm not the person you need to convince of that, because I'd probably agree with you. Yeah, that's all right, Phil. All right, I won't be able to watch it now, but I think that link will hopefully show. All right, let's hope you don't, Marcus. I'm still waiting to find out if I'm going to get a DP2 or not from the person I've PayPal money to. So we'll see how that goes. If you're asking me, DMW, when does it happen? It will happen when it happens. Like I said, I'll have to keep saving up for one until one turns up. Yeah, fair enough, I'm Spartan. To be honest, we're not in the age bracket, are we, where we're really at risk from corona either. A DP2 is a very old Soviet dosimeter, or Geiger counter. It's actually an ionization chamber. But that's the DP3, the big box one on the wall. The DP5 is the famous Soviet one. There's also the DP63. The DP2 is like the earliest ones I can find, I don't know much about the IP46M. Let me look up. Is that a rebreather, judging by its name? Because normally IPs are rebreathers, aren't they? Like all the old Warsaw Pact kind of numbering systems, like DP are dosimeters. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, that looks cool. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't seriously use it for anything unless you can get a new scrubber unit for it. But it's a cool looking thing. In general, like I said, I think rebreathers are pretty cool. You just have to be very careful with them and, don't use them for anything serious. Um, It would work to a degree, Marcus. Weirdly, containers filled with water shield against radiation pretty well. I don't think you can break them from overcharging them planes, if that's what you're saying. They just work for capacitor. So basically, you're either going to have the thing on scale or off scale. I don't know, Tactical Pirate. You can ask him if he's still in the chat. But right, Cam, I've recommended quite a lot in videos in the past. Yeah, weirdly, we were having a discussion about boots, weren't we, Class 2 Instructor on the stream the other day, but that was the members only one. And I was saying there that I really like the old German or Austrian sort of para boots, but I've not seen any of those in good condition to buy since then. The 4A1 is much better than a GP5 DMW, and you can put a standard 40mm filter on it, unlike the GP5, so get a 4A1. And everybody else is saying 4A1 as well. What's 500? Sorry, but hello, Miss Fathers. Unless you mean the donation that Thomas did, which I'm obviously very grateful for. That's Danish kroner, but that will be going towards the bunker. I think I'll get paid by YouTube when I this month, probably about 25th, 26th. Let's check when that is. That's Wednesday or Thursday. In about 2 weeks, I think I'll get that. Actually, that's the point. Oh, the camera just went really fuzzy then. When is the PS5 released? Let's have a look. PS5 release date. Or have they not announced a release date for it yet? I don't think I'd want to pay £600 for a console, though. Live in it for most of the time. Oh, so it's only a couple of days away, is it, Mike? Yeah, because I was thinking if it was around Christmas time and they weren't silly money, I'd get one, just because there's some exclusives I quite want for it. Yeah, I know, but the Demon Souls remake isn't going to come out on PC, is it? Unless it's being hit by neutrons, Joshua, the water won't get irradiated, or, unless there's contaminants getting into it. But if you just have, like, gamma rays coming off or something, and, like, say, a fish tank, don't obviously get a fish tank with fish in it next to a radioactive source. But say you had, like, a fish tank, and then you had, a radioactive source, the neutrons and the gamma rays basically slow down by the water a lot. Yeah, all right, Fuzzy. Yeah, Thomas is being very kind as usual. No, I haven't had a console since the PS3. In terms of like console generations, the 360 and the PS3. The only reason I'm interested in the PS5 is just mostly because I've got a lot of friends now that just kind of like playing stuff on consoles again. And, like I said, the thing is, I like with consoles, although you have to install games on them now and all that, don't you? I kind of like with consoles, you just put a disc in and play it. It was really straightforward. But it's just because the Demon Souls remake's coming out on PS5, and Demon Souls is like one of my favorite games ever. No, Cam, give me a quick explanation of what it is, please. Right, Unknown Russian again. It depends what one goes for, doesn't it? If one goes for 20 grand, I'm not too far off getting it. If one goes for 50 grand, I'm nowhere near close to getting it. It depends. Like I said, I'm saving up more and more each month. Like I've got a separate savings account for it, and then it's just going to have to be the coincidence of when I've got enough in the account and one pops up. Yeah, as in one of those, an ROC post. Isn't that the one biscuits that was meant to be terrible or something when it first came out? But again, it's like one of those ones they fixed quite a bit. Yeah, but you need the land for it, don't you? The thing is, they come with the land. No, I obviously do not have a rare underwater rifle. Was that one of like the really big ones though, Thomas? Because now and again you will see for sale like the old Rotor style bunkers, which are really interesting. But again, they're very expensive because they were like government style bunkers, as in ones for several hundred people, who they really wanted to survive, those kind of bunkers. But, like they're saying, the ROC posts, the ones where now and again they'll just pop up for sale for a reasonable price and you just have to restore them a bit. Yeah, if it was a big one of a TV studio, Thomas, that would be a Rotor style bunker, because the idea was that they basically thought they could have like the Prime Minister or whoever doing broadcast telling everybody they'd be fine after we'd all died in a nuclear war while they were safe in the bunkers. Yeah, like Calvin and Hatch, which has the BBC studio, and yeah, but that's a Rotor bunker, isn't it, Plains? Calvin. I've done a video a bit like that, Marcus, but it's quite hard without a really kind of lab kind of setup, if that makes sense, to do it properly. As in, you'd want a check source of an exact known, like, power, which I don't technically have because I've not got really scientific check sources. So you'd want one of those. You'd then want kind of a lab bench where everything's held, in proper distances measured away, and then you could put the blocks in. There is a video, though, I think, Marcus, and I'll try and link you to it when I can find it again, where a guy is literally doing that, where he's got a lab and he's like putting bits of meat and stuff and like lead and other things between like a cobalt source or something and his Geiger counter, like a really proper like computerized readout. Let me look one up, Biscuits, and see if it would actually work. That's the sort of thing that might work for it. Like I said, I don't know enough about how those hardness testers work, but like I said, it's generally the density of a material affects how good it is at shielding radiation, which is why, lead has always been considered a very good thing for shielding radiation. It is and it isn't, depending, but it's just due to the density of the material. All right, sorry if I've missed a load of questions, because obviously I've been answering certain questions. But yeah, DMW COVID is pretty bad in the UK at the moment. As in, I know it depends where you are in the UK. So like Scotland's different to England, different to Wales and all that. But in England, we've gone back into a national lockdown. When we come out of one, they said we weren't going back into another one because they left it too late, The worst gas mask I've ever seen, Harry, as you might know me saying, is the what's it called? The Pewter whatever it's called. That Chinese one that doesn't work properly. Not really, Stephen. I mean, Fukushima might have overall released more material, especially being next to the sea, but in terms of human life lost, no. Some are right, Gash Goblin. Like, for example, this is a Chinese mask, and this is fucking excellent. I know I've not got a filter on it, and that's a homemade blanking plug for that side, but this is a fucking excellent mask. But yeah, they really vary in quality. A lot of them are nowhere near as good as this one. All right, see you, Richard, if you're off. I'm not going to be on for too much longer myself. I'll be on another 10 minutes. Yeah, that's basically, I think, the civilian variant of the modern Chinese army one. Gash Goblin. It's the one Hype sent me. I think this is called an MF11D, technically. I think, is it the FMJ09? Is like the military variant of it. Well, Chinese gas mask. But yeah, these are very good. But again, it's just because it's kind of like, where they're trying to do a very close copy to something like an Avon C50 or something. I'll probably do another stream tomorrow, in all honesty. But hello, everybody that's joined. It's quite a busy one tonight. But I suppose that's because COVID, isn't it? Yeah, Stephen. I mean, the only good thing is the newer plants being designed have auto shutdown systems, don't they? Like auto scram systems that should, in theory, work quite well. But yeah, older plants or countries that won't maintain their plants properly. Yeah, Tyrick, I think the problem is everywhere. As we get into winter, it's going to get bad. That's generally what traditionally happens with pandemics. If that's the escape hood, Andrew, that's the one that nearly suffocated me, so yes. When you say China syndrome, Stephen, do you mean the thing of like corium melting through the entire Earth? If so, interestingly, apparently Legasov and a lot of the Soviet scientists were actually discussing the China syndrome during Chernobyl because they didn't know if it would happen or not, and that was part of the thing of putting a heat exchanger under Chernobyl. But I imagine in reality, you'd need a hell of a lot of nuclear fuel to keep consistently melting through the Earth. I have no idea about them, Dusty. That sounds very interesting. The Nixie tube clock is one Hype sent me. So it's basically one of the really common kits you can get on places like AliExpress, but, you know, he got it for like an actual proper price, not an inflated price. My favourite cheap filter gas mask, probably the PBF. Just because, you know, it's quite different from the others. Oh yeah, Scott. The miners and everybody that dug under there died for nothing because the water they did need to pump out, but the digging out of the tunnels they didn't know if they'd need to do it or not, and it turns out in reality they didn't. But you know the risk was you send however many men to their deaths due to radiation exposure digging that tunnel out, or you risk it, but then loads of the continent could die if it does go down into the river water. Yeah, as in the H.G. Wells Time Machine film, Philip. With difficulty, yeah. So when your one arrives, so I don't lose it and I can send it back to you, I have to find a special place for it where it won't get crushed or anything. Avon CT12 Sergeant Serial. Then I'm pretty sure that would crack the Earth, wouldn't it, Stephen? Because 50 odd megatons SAR bomb was the strongest nuke ever detonated. So if we're thinking something that's essentially thousands of times the scale of that, yeah, I think that would crack the planet, wouldn't it? No, I've not got a left-handed PMG, but I'm not left-handed, so I wouldn't have much use for one. But if you've got one and you like it, that's cool. Yeah, I don't worry. I'm not going to lose your PMK. When people send me stuff, I keep it in very, very good condition because I'm not, you know, I don't abuse people's things like that. But when it's my own stuff, that's when I get a bit, you know, sloppy with it. But yeah. What Gamer TV needs to do is he needs to wait till I do that tag video that Weapon Collector tagged me in. Because the answer to that's technically in that video, isn't it? That's very interesting, Class 2 Instructor. Didn't know that. No, they don't use the those in the British Army anymore, Sergeant Serial. Cool, Philip. I like the Gladius quite a lot for like the cheap price, well, you know, cheapish price they are. They're quite versatile. Yeah, sadly, S10s are getting harder and harder to find. Yeah, Mike, I only saw the other day you tagged me in that, or like I think I knew you tagged me in it, but I hadn't got around to watching it. And was it either yesterday or this morning I watched it, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that at some point. But don't they technically, Pharaoh, need the outer party? It can't just be the inner party and the proles. It would have to be inner party, outer party, and the proles. Dusty, the best person to ask about that in this stream, I think, would be Flazzy if he's still on, because I believe he does a lot of that. As in, like, shooting deer, I mean. Yeah, anyway, I'll be off in a couple of minutes, but a massive thank you again, Thomas, for the donation. I really appreciate it, because that does speed up the bunker quite a bit when I get one of that size. Again, it's going to be, though, I suppose, sod's law of will one turn up when I've got the funds together. But, you know, like I said, I'm just constantly, like, every week searching for them to see if any come up. But... oh, yeah, is that the Thermo Fisher, like... hang on. I might have one handy. Not the Thermo Fisher one, but it's like the Thermo... what's happened? I think YouTube has changed the tab. Yeah, that's all right. Is it like the Thermo Fisher equivalent of one of these, isn't it? If you're thinking of that thing, yeah, I've seen those on eBay. They do look very nice, but again, I don't really have much need for one. Yeah, I've read War of the Worlds, Justin. Time Machine. What's the one about the Sleeper Awakens? Because it sounds like June. Hang on. H.G. Wells, Sleeper. The Sleeper Awakes. That's an interesting one. There's also The Invisible Man. Yeah, H.G. Wells did lots of good stuff. Also predicted nuclear war, didn't he, before it was a thing? Sadly, bow hunting is completely illegal in the UK, Joshua, because it's considered, like, unethical, inhumane, or whatever. More like the MGP one I've got than inductive tea cake. That's in the other room, the MGP. It's in the drawer. But yeah, H.G. Wells is a very good author. There's loads of really good sort of authors at early 20th century sort of time, aren't there, in terms of... let's have a look. I'll do a members stream tomorrow, probably, because I've done a regular stream today, and I didn't get a chance to do a stream yesterday, because I had to do like a work Zoom call type thing in the evening. But right, I'm at 91.3 thousand subscribers, and membership, if I remember where I can see that. How many members have I got? I have got 57 members, so that's all right. That means that there's a fair amount of people that will probably be on for a member stream to have a good chat. Yeah, sorry, bots, I'm off in a minute. There's a button, Sergeant Sirio, I believe. Yeah. Well, I suppose Alien 2 is aliens, isn't it? But I like a lot of the Alien films, you know. Again, it's kind of a shame Alien 3 never got made how they originally wanted to make it, because Alien 3 is really interesting if you read into what they were originally going to do. I would say probably either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m, Thomas, but what I'll do tomorrow is I'll definitely post in the Discord announcements thing and say what time I'm going to be on. I will do a special video, Tyrick, but we'll work out what I'm going to do when I get there. As in Alien Resurrection, Joshua. I've not seen any of the ones after Prometheus. I don't even know how many there were after Prometheus. But like out of the old 4 Alien films, you know, that used to come in the box sets. Cheers, Nick. You'll see the members video tomorrow, and well, member stream tomorrow. But it should let you look at all the old member streams anyway now. Well, there's lots of things I think, Justin, that were a lot better back in the day than stuff now, and it's kind of funny, isn't it, when you think you sound like a miserable old person saying that? But I just, in general, think that is the case. That, you know, lots of things was a lot. Like, I was listening to like some creepypastas the other day, and there was one that was really good, and then it was actually because it was like a 1905 like short novella that had been done into creepypasta. I was like, oh, that's why, because it wasn't something somebody had written on Reddit. It was an actual proper, you know, book, like a Bram Stokery sort of thing. Yeah, that's the thing, inductive TK. You want one, don't you, that just covers quite a wide range, so you know if you're at background to quite dangerous levels. Anyway, I'll be off now. Thanks everybody that joined in today. It was quite a good stream, and a massive thank you to Thomas again for the giant donation. Well, you'll see the 100k special when I get to 100k subscribers, won't you? Not before then. Right, Joshua, just to answer you quickly, the two I've been playing recently I've really enjoyed, as well as Phasmophobia, but that's like playing online with people. Superliminal, which is a puzzle game, and Teardown, which is kind of like a weird robbery sort of destruction puzzle game. Right, see you all. Goodbye.